I really love the uniforms. Whose idea was to match that color combination?
Oh no, it did look good though,
Well,
didn't
they did
it?
look good, yes. I understand from what we got a tweet up from Todd, the first time since 2006 we've worn that color scheme.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
we ought to keep that on the back burner when we go play somebody supposedly better than we are. I'm going to break down. We'll look at the first quarter here. The Tillman wins the toss, elects to defer. They kick off to the Tigers, and we receive the kickoff and go 3 and out. Tripp gets off a 34-yard punt to the Paducah 34-yard line, and he punted well last night,
Yeah.
averaging about 35 yards a punt. Tillman takes over, and on their second play of the game, uh, Jameer strips the ball carrier, fumbles around, picked up by one of their backs, and taken 20 yards downfield. And I thought, oh no, this is going to be a long night if they start having this kind of luck.
That's exactly
But
what I thought.
it carried to the 30-yard line, Caldwell's 30-yard line, but they can't do anything after the big play, losing yardage on 3 consecutive runs, and the Tigers take over on downs at our 35-yard line. Our second possession, we get a 16-yard run by Jameer, an 11-yard pass to Derek Hollowell, and following a penalty against Tillman, Joby hooks up with Oliver Parker on a 32-yard touchdown pass. And on that play, it looked like Tillman was in a full blitz because all you could see probably was their 6, 7, 8, 9 guys coming parallel to where we were, and Joby pocket presence. Throws, Oliver makes a tipping catch, pulls it in himself, then gets a tremendous block from Trail on that play.
Yeah.
That situation extremely well. When you look up and out of the periphery of your eyes, you see people charging at you. You sometimes want to tuck and run, so to speak, or do things that isn't going to be good. But great presence.
I'll let Will speak to that on that play, but after that play, I don't say this now, but Will's comment to Bradley was, he said, they can't stop us tonight. He said, with the way they're playing coverage, they're not going to stop us. And that was the first touchdown. So I'm glad Will was that confident early in the game.
Well, it looked like they couldn't. They were having trouble covering us because we were 22 out of 32 with about 3 drops or 4 drops, and the ball was right on the money. We had maybe stretch a little bit for one, but so we end up. Again, a great blitz pickup by the line, and we go in. Barrett adds the extra points, and there's nothing I liked any better than seeing that ball really sail through the uprights. No little chip shot or wedge shot or what, so I know it had to help his confidence, as we would see later on in the game. Colwick leading at that time 7-0. Paducah Tillman on their second drive anyway, receives the kickoff, and aided by a Tiger penalty early in the drive, the drive bogs down after an intentional grounding penalty against Tillman. That's kind of when we got after their quarterback, and you could see his eyeballs get big, and he was running for cover and throwing it anywhere he could, which obviously resulted in the grounding. They then punted to us. They had actually on that play, they then tried their 47-yard field goal, and this is what I said earlier when you were in the studio. We have it. The ball's at our 30-yard line. They kick and miss, and yet the ball is moved to the 20-yard line. They gain 10 yards on the change of possession, when to me they were rewarded by missing the field goal kick. Now, they could have gotten 3 points, but to me the theory and logic of that just doesn't make any sense.
I agree with that wholeheartedly.
So it makes us have to go 10 yards further when we go downfield, and so we take over at the 20, and we go 3-and-out. Again, this change, moving it from the 30 to 20, just really resonates with me, because I think any time that somebody does something that's not successful, you don't reward them. That's my long and short of that. So Tillman, following a punt, Tillman takes over at their 49-yard line from a 34-yard punt by Tripp, a 9-yard return. They pick up 1 first down, but then they have to punt back to us. And so on our 4th possession of the first half last night, we're pinned back to our 10-yard line, and on 2nd down, Joby hits Travis Newsom for a 42-yard pass play. Travis being interfered probably at least 10 yards on that run going down the sideline before he makes the catch. Kid was holding him, grabbing him, and everything on our sideline. You all probably couldn't see that, but makes a tremendous catch. And then last night, that's the other thing about Travis. Yards after catch was tremendous last night. He just does not go down.
Yeah, that's something we preach is after we catch the ball, we get upfield and we want yards. You make contact, get yards after contact, and Travis does a great job of that. And that's just the type of kid he is. He's going to compete, and that catch, the kid was all over him when he caught the ball, and it was just a great catch and a great finish on that run.
Will, asking you a question here. When you were seeing, and now we've had the chance to see Tillman and how their defensive secondary plays, obviously you've had to feel some confidence that if we got the ball to our receiver, we could do something with it.
Yeah, definitely. On that particular play to Travis, we ran the same play on that first drive, and Joby said, we've got it over the top with Travis. It's something he saw, and it's basically Travis faking the screen. The corner comes up and he runs by him, and that's what we had right there. And that's something Joby saw on his own. And the next we came back and ran it, and that just speaks to his progression as a quarterback. Seeing that kind of thing. That's nothing that I saw. That's something he saw during the game, and we hit it twice. We hit it once to Travis, and then going the opposite direction. Oliver Parker made that diving catch. That was the same play on the other side. So
that play with Travis unfolding was exactly the same play we ran last year at Union County, and sucked in the back, and then Travis goes downfield, takes it all the way. So and their defensive backs were playing off us a little bit more than you thought, or were they didn't press coverage too much?
No, I think probably just with the game Oliver had and the capability Travis has, they were going to play off a little bit and try to make us throw it underneath, and we were still able to get over the top, a decent amount.
After that play, the Tigers are around midfield. We stall, and we have to punt. Again, as we've talked about Joby's ability to pick up, and it's another sign of presence when you can see things happening that you can rely on later in the game for a good decision to be made in that situation. Tripp gets off another nice 37-yard punt to the Tillman 15. Tillman goes 3 and out, and they have to punt. The Tigers, for their fifth possession of the first half last night, take over at the 41, get a 13-yard run by Derrick, and at times last night he was stuffed. Really, they played the line of scrimmage pretty well against us, but we did get around the end on a couple occasions and through the middle on one or two. Offensive line blocking was we were going to try to go inside or try to go outside on them last night.
They kind of moved around a little bit, and so we kind of stuck with our base run game, and we had to get some tough yardage up inside. We've been running, our stretch play, which is an outside run, pretty good this year. So they kind of game planned against that, which I think really helped us on our screens. Last night was probably the best we've ran our screens all year. So, that's basically, it doesn't show up in the stats as rushing, but our screen game is an extension of our run game. So, I think our ability to run the ball the last couple of weeks opened that up for us last night too.
We again, the passing was crisp last night, and so after that pass completion or run by Derrick, Joby follows that up with a 14-yard pass completion to Travis and a 2-yard run by Derrick. And on the next play, Joby lofts a beautifully thrown ball that Oliver takes in stride over his shoulder, and we get in the end zone for his second catch of the night, his second touchdown on a 30-yard touchdown pass. Again, what we were seeing up in the press box was excellent blocking by the O-line on that particular play, and we'll bring Coach Riley in here and have him make some comments about. I know he works with a lot of the special teams out there.
Well, talking about the O-line, I know, being able to go last night after coming off a knee, had a little knee thing, and he went, and I think that was big for us. John Kelly's always a big active leader for the O-line. And now you said something about special teams. Did you? Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, just from my point of view, I felt like we probably played as complete a game special teams as we had. I know, you talk about Tripp and Barrett; those guys have both had great games last night. I thought our kick coverage was pretty good last night. We kept the ball away from their kind of big home run threats in the return game, and kids did a good job covering down.
And the other thing on our punts, the 5 punts that we did make, there was nobody that ever got through the line. Maybe they had punt return on or what, but they didn't threaten us at any time last night in blocking a punt. So Oliver gets it in the end zone, another strong extra point by Barrett, and we go up 14-0 over Tillman. I wonder if Western Kentucky's taking notice at this time of what they're getting scores throughout the region. We hope they were taking notice anyway. So Tillman gets the kick off at their 20. That's one of the times that we got it into the end zone. They take over at the 20. And they move it into Tiger territory on 7 runs, but on 3rd and 22, Tillman throws a wounded duck that's picked up. A great interception by Gabe East on that perfectly timed jump by him, and we intercept and take over. At this point in time, the Tillman quarterback was 0 for 4, and right now he has 1 completion, but it's to the wrong team. That's never a good thing, is it, Coach?
No, it's not good, and good for us. Gabe, looking back at that, Gabe, he did a really good job of breaking on that ball and picking it. And, Gabe, he was really active on stopping the run last night, too, and then he was able to make that interception. Gabe is a hard-nosed kid, and, a lot of times he goes unnoticed on the field, but he does a great job for us on both sides of the ball.
Well, it was a perfectly timed pass. You could see from the time that ball went up in the air, it looked like it was going to hang up there for a minute, and he had enough time to run over, time his leap, and make a perfect interception on that. So we take over at our 29, and we again go 3 and out. Tripp has another nice 38-yard punt, and change of field position. But Tillman, on their 6th possession of the night, they march 69 yards and 12 plays all on the ground, and they score with 56 seconds remaining in the first half. The extra point by their field goal, extra point punter, Lance Butler, is good. By the way, his brother is the UK kicker, Miles Butler.
I'm glad you answered that, because Rachel, that was one of the things she asked me this morning.
He is the younger brother of the UK kicker that just went on full scholarship at UK. And in the Paducah paper this week, to compliment this young man, he's been named a National Merit Finalist.
Wow.
So academics run in that family as well. So at this time, Caldwell County leading now 14-7 with 56 seconds remaining in the first half, but we just don't tank it in and begin to take knee and all that. We got a great kickoff return from Trace Old, and Trace just about had him 1 to the end zone on that one.
Well, you look at the film, and I saw it on the field last night. The first one, our first return at the opening of the game, had Trace accelerated the way he did on that one, he probably would have scored. I mean, that lane opened up, and
on that first kickoff return, he was like in slow motion across the field over in front of your all's bench, and he just never could find a hole, I guess.
I think Coach Riley said it. If you hit up in that hole, you probably score right there, and he did a good job of setting us up, and I thought Will did a good job of with, I don't know what it was on the clock, but Will looked at me coming down the sideline and said, "What are we going to do here?" I said, "We're going to score." I said, "What do you want to do?" He said, "Well, I want to score." So, we did. Joby did a really good job of getting the ball to the sideline. And
another show of pocket presence, in my opinion. We take over at Tillman's 49, a 6-yard pass completion to Gabe East, followed by a 2-yard loss by Joby. Then Joby hits Travis with an 11-yard pass down the right sideline. Travis gets out of bounds to stop the clock. And we have another 13-yard pass down that left side. Jameer catches it and steps out of bounds. And then Joby goes back, cannot find a receiver open, and gets out of bounds at the yard line on the side there. And we bring in our field goal kicker, and Barrett nails it. Just another crushing kick from that young man.
You know, it was a good job offensively of executing it with little time left to get us down there to score. And it was a good presence of mind of Joby being able to get the ball down the field and get out of bounds, because I think that put us right at the limit of where our field goal distance is. And, we did you go back to the snapper with, you had to snap, the hold, and the kick, and all three kids there executed very well.
It was perfectly executed, and he nails it from 28 yards out. So I imagine he had a really nice feel at halftime going into not the locker room, but down in the end zone.
That was big because, we answered them, and going in at halftime, we didn't score.
Whatever momentum they had was doused. I'm sure their coaching staff wasn't happy about what occurred the last 56 seconds, but anyway, we go in leading Tillman at halftime, 17-7, leading by 10 points, and in a game that nobody thought Caldwell County had a chance at. Speaking of that last-minute drive, David, you just mentioned that a confidence builder for us.
Yes, to answer that, and we could have took a knee and went in at halftime, but I really felt like with our way we were playing, that we had a chance to get the ball out there and score again, and that shows the kids that we got confidence in them getting the job done.
I think that's the big statement you make. We're not laying down. We're playing football. We'll see what happens, and we'll take a shot at what we get here. And that's going to do it for this segment on the first half, and we'll be back to look at the second half after these commercial messages.
Dunks Used Tires and Wheels, where the customer is always number one. So when life's throwing you a number two, just remember, Dunks Tires and Wheels, because we'll be here for you. We sell used custom wheels and tires and do plug and patch repair. We have all tread styles and sizes in stock, open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, and on call for emergencies. Call 270-963-6391. Dunks Used Tires and Wheels, where the customer is always number one.
Picture KFC's world-famous extra crispy chicken. Now, imagine it glistening in hot honey sauce. Just think about the crispy, sweet heat. Now, it's in your sights. Reach for it. Almost there. Oops, this is a KFC radio commercial. But you can make your picture a reality by getting a hot honey tenders basket. KFC, it's finger-licking good. At participating KFCs for a limited time, prices may vary. Tax extra.
Why is everyone so excited? A deal on tacos. And 2 words, Taco Tuesday. Taco John's of Princeton has added to the already great Taco Tuesdays. In addition to their 89-cent hard shell promotion, they offer 99-cent soft shell tacos. Stop by the location on US 62 West and catch a deal every week on Taco Tuesdays. That's 89-cent hard shells and 99-cent soft shells every Tuesday from open to close at Taco John's in Princeton, home of the true Taco Tuesday. Ole the day at Taco John's.
Well, and welcome back to the SMQ. David, at halftime last night, what did you think that we could do better in the second half? In my opinion, we'd almost played a fairly perfect first half.
Well, a lot of times when you play a run team like them, it runs in the wishbone and then getting some other sets, you don't see them play fast like that Tillman played in. So that last drive they had, they went down and scored and right before halftime, and we had to kick off to them, and we want to make sure that coming back that we needed to get a stop, which that didn't happen, but our kids just kept fighting, and they got a score right there, and but we want to make sure that in their mindset the game was still 0-0. Even though we were up 17-7 at that point, we're going to go with that mentality. And, offensively, Will can go over what he did there. Defensively, Coach McClung just, we were playing really good defense. There wasn't a lot of adjustments we had to do. I think Coach Riley, he worked with them all week because they did a lot of cutting with their tight ends on our defensive ends, and Coach Riley can talk to that. But that was a big concern of ours, and that I think Coach Riley may have talked to them a little bit at halftime about that as well. But adjustment-wise, there were not all the adjustments we had to make.
And Will, what did you go over with the offense? Just keep doing what you're doing, and
Yeah, and we made a couple of adjustments as far as some things we saw in the first half that Coach Stallings up top saw that we thought we could do in the second half, and we had a couple of things we'd practiced that we hadn't brought out yet, and just talk about keep playing and keep the intensity going and keep scoring.
I know that it was ironic throughout the game. I knew Tillman was getting off a lot of plays, probably about 80 some odd rushing attempts or 70 some odd rushing attempts last night. So with all that time on the field, was our defensive line beginning to tire a little bit at half, or how did you see that playing out? David?
Well, I thought, and I'll let Coach Riley speak to that too, but I thought, that last drive before halftime, we got a little tired, a little winded, and, our backside pursuit, which was really good in the first part of the game, we didn't get that as much on that particular drive, and that may have been true to the pace they were playing on offense. Like I said, they were not huddling, they were going fast and running the football at you, which is took a little air out of us probably. But I'll let the Coach Riley address the way they were playing up front.
First, they were very physical. We kind of documented that a little bit. But I think in that, anytime you get those long drives against a team that's downhill like that, they were just running off tackle and kicking out and blocking us down. We did get a little tired. And, we got a little bit high, and I kind of threw Michael Vickery in there, and he kind of come in and made a couple. He just kind of gave Mitchell a little bit of a rest, and then we ended up switching Mitchell and Leighton some, which is a suggestion Coach McClungan made earlier in the week about, if we need to, that's something that we can go to. And they kind of got to running off what we felt like was their best offensive lineman, number 57, kind of got behind him some. And so we made that a little bit adjustment. And, I think our kids just kind of battled through it. I mean, they just kind of bounced back and come back and played.
One of the things I noticed in their rushing attack is that it seemed tougher for us to bring down their 150-pound backs than it did their big 200-pound back. And those little 150-yard Freeman and Ford and were not only getting yards after, they were getting yards after lunge. I mean, they would lunge for 2 and 3 yards when they would go to the ground. They almost never went backward, so to speak. So, but they have a ferocious rushing attack, that's for sure.
They got more than one back they get the ball to, and the way they want to play that's big for them. I'm sure it didn't help that they had the Crimble was out. I don't know what was wrong with him, but he didn't play last night. No.
I didn't see him on the field, so I was going to ask you.
He was not dressed. He had his jersey on the sideline, but I don't know what was wrong with him.
So Tillman, having deferred at the beginning of the game, they take the kickoff to start the second half, and they start from their 23-yard line. Another good coverage kick by the Tigers, and they begin a 14-play drive, again all on the ground, and they finally get a 14-yard run from one of their 150-pound backs, Davian Ford. They pretty well just went down the center of the field on us on that, and about that time I was really wondering if we were tired at the end of the first half. We probably got a little more tired after that drive. But Tillman sticks at the end zone, kicks the extra point, and they go up 17-14 on us. Here's where it really gets offensive perfection. We take over on our first drive. We get the kickoff at our 20 and immediately have a typical Tiger drive. This is a four-play drive, Will, here. Trail has a 3-yard pass reception, a 27-yard pass reception to Oliver Parker, headlong dive, and that was that play where you had mentioned earlier that he fakes the corner up and runs past him, and then all effort makes the headlong dive to make the catch. And next, Joby hooks up with Jameer Riley on a 35-yard pass play to the Tillman 15-yard line, And then the next play, Derek gets out on a swing pass route from Joby, and nice catch and run on his part. He had nobody out there after him.
Like, watching film, the running back out of the backfield was going to be a big part of what we wanted to do on offense. And, something that probably goes unnoticed is Oliver Parker. He really set that thing up with his route and letting Derek get out there into the flat open. And then, Joby made a good decision because it was another run-pass option for him. And he got the look for the pass and made the right decision. So, again, the last 2-3 weeks he's been spot on making those decisions, and he's doing a great job with it.
Well, we also noticed on that particular play that when I saw the ball go out, I knew that Derek had maybe one drop earlier, maybe two drops earlier, and that ball just stuck to him like Velcro on his hip, and a great catch, and just 2 steps, and he was in the end zone, it seemed like.
I told Derek on that one he missed, I said, when he come off the sideline, I said, "Do you know why you missed that ball?" He said, "Yeah, Coach." He said, "I didn't look it in the tuck." And he did on the next one, and he caught it.
He definitely had that ball secured, and again, Barrett nails and drills an extra point. Caldwell County answers Tillman's opening drive of the third quarter with one of our own. And we go up at this point 24-14 over Tillman. Tillman gets the kickoff at their 30, and they pick up 1 first down, and then they go for 4th and 3 from near midfield, and do not make it on 4th down. They were they had some 4th down conversions last night, but this was not one of them. Big defensive stand by the Tigers. So at that point, I began to feel better about the defensive line, that we didn't. You knew what was coming, and we stopped it.
Yeah.
And so, again, we take over. And, again, this is another one of and we'll go over how many minutes we had the ball here in the second half shortly, because I went through that last night after I got home. Again, we make the tornado play for their gamble at midfield, and we get another typical Tiger drive. This time 3 plays. Joby hooks up with Oliver on a 17-yard pass play, then a 26-yard pass to Travis Newsom, who probably picked up 15 yards after that catch with 3 people on his back going down on your all sideline. It's amazing how he strongest kid on the team, it seems like, when you can't get him down when you're hanging on him.
It's a great effort right there on that kid's part.
And then Joby goes back and looks over the middle, and then Travis again makes another catch, a perfect throw on that, just where Travis can only catch it, breaks the pylon, and we score from 6 yards out. Barrett adds the extra points and extra point, and we lead 31-14 at that time, but still not time to celebrate yet on that. But you had to feel good about coming out and taking 2 drives in the third quarter and scoring off both of them, David.
Yeah, it was, helped our confidence, and they came out and scored on that first series of the second half. And we told our kids, this offense is, we can score at any time. It may take 3 plays, it may take 4 plays, it may take 15. And I kind of like it sometimes when we get those 3 and 4 play scoring drives. And I know you don't like that, Mr. Hayes.
Well, I like them too. We'll go over time of possession, one of Todd Griffin's favorite stats here, but we it has to be demoralizing for Tillman. We run 7 plays and have 14 points on the board, and they eat up maybe four minutes of the start of the third quarter going down the field and scoring. Tillman gets the kickoff at their 30-yard line. Again, as Coach Riley said all night long, our kickoff coverage was outstanding. They didn't have they never broke a seam where we had to run them down. So and against a team that's got their kind of speed, that was phenomenal, I thought.
Right. We talked about that, kind of joked on the sideline and on Thursday's practice. Whatever you do, don't kick it to 6. Don't kick it to 6, and we didn't kick it to 6. So that helped some when you could keep the fastest kid in Western Kentucky from touching the football.
Always a great smart move.
Yeah.
Great intuitive on Earl's part. So Tillman receives the kickoff from 30, and they go 3 and out and punt back to the Tigers. Tigers, on their third drive of the second half, take over at our 36-yard line, and we begin a non-typical Tiger drive, an 11-play drive. We have 2 runs of De'Eric Hollowell totaling 12 yards, and a face mask penalty on him moves the ball further toward Tillman's goal line, a 5-yard pass to Travis Newsom, a 4-yard run by Joby. And that play looked like a quarterback draw. Will, was that a design play?
Yeah, it was. That's something at halftime. We lined up in that empty set the first half, and they didn't have any linebackers in the box. And so we knew on third down we wanted to come back to that. And this time they had 2 linebackers in the box, but we still had good numbers, and they just kind of slid off and made a play for, I think we gained 4 or 5 yards there. So which was fine on 3rd and 11. I knew we were going to go for it on 4th down.
And on 4th down, a 20-yard pass completion to Oliver moves the ball to the 9-yard line. Just another nice thrown ball, nice catch. And then Joby teams up with Jameer with his 5th touchdown pass of the night. Jameer gets into the end zone from 7 yards out. This time, Barrett misses the extra point on a bad snap or bad hold, or I was looking up when all that was going on.
I was talking to one of the kids on the side. I didn't see that one. I don't know what happened. Did you, Coach Riley?
Say that again.
On that extra point, was it a bad snap?
The one we missed.
I don't think it's a bad snap. I think it kind of slipped, and he just kind of picked it up. I think it slipped through the holder's hands a little bit. But
I think that was the drive that we threw a pass to Oliver on it was a little high, but was that
that was the yes. He makes a nice catch on that
one
ball.
that we missed.
Yeah, there was an incomplete pass on the 2nd down.
Yeah, to
That's
Oliver.
all right.
But the point I want to make there is that we worked with Joby all year long, talking to him about when we get down there in the red zone on a post route, he's got to throw that ball high, and he did on that one. He threw it exactly the way we taught him to throw it, and then and Oliver does great averages. Didn't make the play, but the point I want to make there is Joby did what we coached him up to do, and that's a good thing.
Well, and that comes after the 20-yard pass completion, because we were sitting there. We saw Oliver break open on that crossing route, and the ball was thrown high. And again, you could see Joby's dismay when he let that ball go. You knew he had thrown it too high. So that's up to me. That's always a positive sign. But then we come back on the next play and make amends for that with Jameer's catch. And missing the extra point, we go up 37-14 over Tillman right now, and that they're going to have to begin winging the ball down the field if they've got any chance of coming back. So far here in the second half, the Tigers have 3 drives, 3 touchdowns, and obviously the offense is beginning to gel for the Tigers.
Yeah, I was really proud of our kids' effort there in the second half. We kept making plays, and our receivers making good catches, and our offensive line did a good job up front. I don't know if we got to this the screen where Ben Thompson goes down and gets a really good block on the screen.
Yeah, that was on Jameer's, I think, 35-yard
That was on
screen.
that.
Yeah.
Big Ben gets down there and makes a big play for us, and and I think Coach Riley's already said this. He really gutted it out last night. I know that knee was bothering him, but the kid out there and played hard. And same thing with Derek. Derek's knee was bothering him a little bit last night, but they sucked it up and went.
We knew one time Dalton Haney went out of the lineup, and we know that he came right back in, because I was wondering who would be our center next. Would he move John Kelly Hughes back to center if Dalton had to stay out?
Yeah, that's all.
And again, the second game in a row where, to me, every snap he makes is chest high to Joby. So that he's improved tremendously, and I know that has to give Joby some confidence, know that he's not going to have to be fielding it high, low, picking up a fumbling ball, which they never bounce true on that. So we have 3 scores on the board. Tillman has 1 in the second half. Tillman takes the next kickoff, and they begin at their 48, and they immediately go to the air And the first or second play on that drive, they get a guy going down the sideline, and probably the best pass of the night the quarterback threw was to that one, and they hook up on that. Or was that the play where we get the pass interference? Or did that kid make that catch?
I think that one. I think he caught that one.
Okay. And then later on, we have a pass interference go against us.
That's in the end zone, wasn't
It was close. It was down there inside the 20, I think.
But again, we were wondering in a situation like that why Trail doesn't backpedal with that receiver instead of turning his back and running after him. But that's something you all can correct during practice this week. They weren't going to throw the 5-yard out pass, in my opinion. They were going to try to hook up long, and they threw some really wounded ducks last night. Wouldn't you agree with me, Coach Riley?
Yeah, they did. To speak that a little bit, I think what we got into is, all week we were worried about their big plays in the run game. And Coach McClung, last 2 weeks in a row, has schemed up probably as well as we could play to stop the run. So we kind of got in the niche of stopping the run, and that starts with being able to play man coverage behind it. And that's with Trail, Jameer, and Gabe being able to do that. I think really, even with 7 or 8 minutes to go in the game, we still kind of thought they had the capability of making big games. And if we got Gabe out of the box or whoever out of the box, and we just went back to our base, cover 3, to where he is backpedaling, keeping everything in front of him, we just felt like, we'd take a chance in man coverage and make sure they couldn't, really force them to throw the ball to beat us. I think we liked our matchup with our kids on theirs, and sometimes when you play man coverage, you get beat. And he just got beat that time.
Well, and as you say, he was looking back to possibly help at the line of scrimmage because he makes a bunch of tackles last night. All those guys do in the secondary. So, but anyway, they get it down close, and with 7 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the game, they score and then convert a 2-point conversion. At this point, Caldwell County 37, Tillman 22. The Tigers take the kickoff, an onside kick, and I got to give Ben Holt a big credit here. A great way to handle the ball in midair on that, and a nice kick by Butler. Usually those kind of kicks the offense gets because the defense mishandles them a lot.
Our hands team there, and Ben, he did a really good job of fielding that. Just a little thing on Ben. Ben, he had a great. To me, he probably played his best defensive game of the year. I mean, he came up and made some big plays on, tackled the back on a swing route on an open field last night on a big hit, and just really proud of his effort.
Well, I was somewhat surprised when I saw the paper this morning when I looked at the tackle stats because I thought he was all over the field last night too. David, I thought he'd have 10, 11, 12 because every play that mounted anything, all of them mounted anything, but he was in there with it. And I knew Caleb was all over the place as well as Russ and Tate, but I thought Ben probably, in my mind, should have had more tackles than maybe he was given credit for, but I'll take that up with Todd and Gary on that. But we can't move. We go 3 and out, and we punt back to Tillman. Again, another 34th-yard punt by Tripp. They take over at their 27, and then they go on a 15-play drive, but they fail to convert on 4th and 5, and this is where the fun starts. This is what I'm calling my bizarre official call of the game part here. And what went on that play? I read in the paper this morning where Jameer gets an unnecessary roughing penalty.
Well, the first penalty called on it was a hold on Tillman. All right. Then Jameer comes up and makes a hit on it, and I'm telling you, it's the way you teach it. I mean, he hits him, he drives his feet. But the other thing is, we got other guys coming to the ball, and they kind of hit Jameer, which, Jameer finishes the tackle, and the referee says it's unnecessary roughness or something at that point. I said, I don't understand. I said the kid
was still trying to break free like they were doing all night long. They were lunging and bobbing and weaving, and we thought maybe it was we didn't know it was unnecessary roughness. we thought maybe the word, they heard something from our sidelines.
It was the head referee, the white hat, that came across and made that call. And when he threw the flag, I said, "What is that for?" And he said, "Unnecessary roughness" or something to that effect. And I said, "I don't understand that." But then they couldn't figure out what to do after that. My thinking is that it was a dead ball foul at that point, and so if we declined the penalty for holding, then that would have made it fourth down, and then that was a dead ball foul.
That was fourth down.
That should have been our football.
Penalized from that point backward, and our ball 1st and 10. That's kind of what we were.
I mean, that's what I thought. Well,
that's kind of what Coach McClung and Bradley were thinking next door too.
But if you look at it on film, they end up marking that off, and they end up with the ball at the 32-yard line and then first down. So.
Well, it took them 10 minutes to get to that point, which is another beef on my part. Call it, make the call, and get on with the game. And I never did think they were going to move the chains. It was clearly a first down by possibly a yard, but I didn't know if the white hat made the holding call or the roughness.
The umpire made the holding call, and then the white hat made the roughing call.
Well, and again, I'll never understand what they see, and it was a physical football game.
Film last night, and
there was no roughness there. If you play football, you're going to get tackled. Sometimes a little more vicious than the time before, but we'll just leave it at that. We'll just let that be our bizarre official call of the day there. And so they eventually cannot make a first down, turn the ball over to us, and we run 3 plays and run out the clock. But a real big victory, David, for us. What'd you tell the kids after the game?
I told them that, that's the first one, and, it's always good to start out 1-0 in the district, which, we've played Tillman 4 times now, and we're 4-0 against them, and we don't play them again for some time. With the way the district falls out next year our schedule. So it's just a great effort by our kids against a very good football team. And, I know Tillman thought that this was their year to beat us. And it didn't happen, and it puts us in a situation to be 1-0 in the district. But, we come back this week with Union County, which is the next big step. And we can't have any letdown, and we've got to get better as a football team. And, Union County's going to come in here. They're going to be ready to play, but our goal is we got to be 2-0, and I expect that to happen.
Well, and you never can take any opponent for granted, even though I think Union got drilled last night by Crittenden. But anything can happen on any given Friday night. So, but I knew Channel 6 was there. I knew that obviously this word was getting out into Western Kentucky about our victory, and maybe a lot of people scratching their heads over 2 weeks in a row. Maybe some of these experts may need to come watch us play a little bit, wouldn't you think?
One other thing I'd like to say is that our coaching staff did a great job of the last 2 weeks against 2 very good football teams of putting together a game plan. Coach McClung, Will, and Coach Riley, Coach Mack, and then Coach Pepper and Coach Van Hoosier, and then we got Bradley up top on Friday nights, and they've done a really good job. And Coach McClung, putting together a package that's a little bit different than what we've been playing because of the way that people were playing or the offense we were facing. But like Coach Riley said, we knew in the last 2 weeks we had to stop the run. I thought we did a really good job of that. And that's just a tribute to the work that Coach McClung put in to put in that package to help us win this football game.
Well, and I know we gave up over 300 yards rushing, but when you rush it 75 plus times, you're gonna and no big runs in there to speak of. Maybe
the big play,
12-yard run, 14-yard run, maybe was their longest run. But again, a great win. We're going to pause now, and we'll wrap this show up when we return after these commercial messages.
A message to the patients of the general surgeon, Dr. Hinton. Dr. Hinton would like to thank all of his patients for allowing him the opportunity to be your surgeon. It's been his honor to take care of you, and he appreciates the confidence you have placed in him. Dr. Hinton is not retiring. He's moved his practice to KDIS. He will continue the care of all of his Caldwell County patients at his KDIS office next to Trigg County Hospital. You can reach Dr. Hinton at 270-522-2557.
This is Holly Van Hooser with the Woodall Agency in Princeton, Kentucky. Are you wanting the best options that meet your needs? If so, call our friendly and professional agents who are just a phone call away at 365-5541 or visit our website woodallagency.com. We will give you a free quote for your home, auto, or even your business. We will get back with you on the best options that meet your needs. Our office is located at 110 West Washington Street. Call Woodall, y'all.
Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz is the place to shop for delicious homemade goodness. Hancock's makes their own fresh chicken salad, pimento cheese, salads, and a variety of mouth-watering desserts, sure to please your entire family. While at Hancock's, be sure to visit their meat department for the best selection of USDA choice meats in the area. Hancock's Neighborhood Market in Cadiz, hometown homemade goodness, and the Hancock name you know and trust for quality for your family. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz.
Sure, everyone cheers for the young people playing the game, but what about poor old mom? Mom, who makes sure the uniform is clean. Mom, who makes sure everyone arrives to practice on time. Mom, who picks up what was forgotten and takes the item to their favorite player. Mom, who makes sure her athlete is fed and ready to go. Mom, who cheers for the team no matter what the score. The time has come to recognize Mom. Sign up today for the YourSportsEdge.com Sports Mom of the Month contest, presented by Magnolia 2 Boutique. Enter now at YourSportsEdge.com.
Welcome back to the SMQ. Again,
the woman accusing
victory
Supreme
last
Court
night
nominee
was
Brett
huge.
Kavanaugh of
Victory
sexual
for the
assault
Tigers
has
puts us in the driver's seat, but as Coach Barnes has mentioned, the next game is the most important game on our schedule, and I'd be remiss right now if I didn't point out how big a crowd, a nice a crowd we had last night supporting our kids.
Our kids notice that, and our coaches notice that, and we really appreciate the support that we get out of our community. You know, when you look at our stands, and we got more people than the home team, it says a lot about what our community feels about our football team, and we really appreciate that support.
It's always great when you have your home crowd follow, and I know that that's always been the case in Caldwell County. It always will be the case in the future. But look at a little bit of these stats right now. In our rushing game last night, Derek, 14 carries for 58 yards. Jameer Riley, 2 carries for 17, and Joby, 5 carries for a -2. And again, a really, really nice all-around game by those young men rushing the ball. We had 21 carries for 73 yards. In the pass receiving department, Travis, 9 big catches for 108. Oliver, 5 big catches for 128 yards. Jameer Riley, 3 for 54. Derek, 3 for 31. Gabe East, 1 for 7. And Trell Riley, 1 for 3. 22 catches, 331 yards, and no interceptions for Joby. 22 out of 32 for the 331 yards. Contrasting that, Tillman rushed the ball 75 times, 319 yards. They were 5 out of 15 with 1 interception through the air. So they ran the ball or passed the ball 90 plays during the game last night, plus 5 points. And we had the ball for basically, I have them somewhere here, about 48 plays or something like that, plus 53 plays and 5 punts. So they just about doubled the opportunities they had. And getting into the tackles department, this is where it's always interesting to me. Caleb Burden with 17, Russ Bashir 12, Trell with 11, Tate 11, Gabe East with 10 are linebackers. Dylan Kavanaugh, who I felt played a real active game last night everywhere, 9 tackles. Drew Davis, 9 tackles. Devin Kilgore, 9. Ben Holt with 7. Jameer Riley with 7. Mitchell Harrelson with 5. Kyrese White, 3. And he gets most of his tackles on the kickoff coverage.
That's the only thing he's on.
And Max Ashley, 2. Cameron Baker, 2. And Cameron got a nice sack there toward the end of the game. And Logan McGowan, one tackle. Travion Samuel, 1. And Logan Smiley won. But great effort by the Tigers. Sack department last night. Cameron Baker won. Russ Bashir won. Dylan Cavanaugh, Gabe East, Mitchell Harrelson, and Devin Kilgore half a sack each. Pass breakup, Gabe East, and Jameer Riley causing a fumble, that being the second play of the game for Tillman. And time of possession here, Caldwell County has it for 15 minutes, 12 seconds to 32 minutes and 48 seconds for Tillman. In the second half, Caldwell County, with our 5 drives, we have the ball for 7 minutes and 9 seconds in the second half. And at the end of the first half, we have it for 47 seconds and put 3 points on the board. So the last 23 points that we made, we put on the board in 8 minutes and 56 seconds. So you've got to have a passing offense to complement your rushing offense. So great work, Coach Barnes.
The other thing is you got to have a defense coordinator that buys into your system, because our defense was on the field quite a bit last night. That may be why they got tired. But Coach.
So you're saying he didn't like those 3-play and 4-play drives?
Well, as long as we score.
Yeah.
And but that does put your defense in a. Sometimes you get a defensive coordinator that doesn't like that. It doesn't work with it very well. So we're very fortunate that it all works out.
And to look at the turn of this game, but Tillman had on third down conversions last night 7 of 20. So we got him to third down on 20 different occasions last night. We were 6 of 12 on third down conversions, 1 out of 1 on fourth down conversions. Tillman 6 out of 8 on fourth down conversions, and the 2 they failed to convert, we took advantage of. So again, a tremendous all-around defensive game. Anything else, David, that you'd like to add as we wind this thing down?
I just, we beat a very good football team last night, and we went into a situation where our kids worked hard this week in practice. We had some kids that probably played the best game of the year so far, and we got to continue to have that. And I still, I told them before the game last night that there's nobody in that room that had reached their full potential on the field, and we still haven't. And that's a good thing, because we, like Will said, we want to be ready to roll when the playoffs roll around, and we got to continue to get better. And it's good to win that game Friday night. It's over. We got to move on to the next step, and that's Union County.
And it's a game we can build off. So many positives out of that game last night against a really, really good football team. Our injury situation this morning, we knew Big Ben played, had a great game last night and played hurt.
Ben, as far as I know, he'll be good to go. We're concerned about Russ Bashir. He rolled his ankle up last night, so we're not sure about him yet. We'll find out more today probably. But Russ is the only one I know of for sure that's questionable.
And then Derek bounces back. I'm sure he's hobbled a little bit today with the hitting he took last night. So
the yards that Derek got last night were hard yards. I mean, he ran hard, and that last run he had, they got the first down there at the end of the game. He put his hand on the ground and bounced back up, and
putting your hand on the ground. Last night, Jameer did that one time on a run, which picked him up a first down, and that I thought that's the first time I've seen him use balance like that to extend his carry. So two kids last night doing that.
Coach Mack works on that, right? Yeah, work a drill where they do that.
Well, I mean, I hadn't seen Jameer do that ever. But again, lots of things last night, and like you say, nobody reaches their full potential. So that the door is always open to improve and get better. And I'll take any final comments from you, Coach Riley.
Well, I was just, you're talking about the amount of rushing yards and time. Someone who doesn't know the game, didn't go to the game, will look at that rushing yard total and think, well, they got the ball ran on them. But we did what we set out to do. And, limit big plays, make them drive the football. And there is some fatigue. But our kids buy into our offense, and they buy into sometimes you're going to have a quick change defensively. And I think they went out against a very physical football team and matched their physicality. And our kids are generally defensively undersized kids. They just go out and play hard and very tough and hard-nosed kids. So I think that's something you don't see in the stat sheet, I guess.
Well, and you're right. 300 yards is nothing because that's about a total offense. They just about had that for their total offense over 30 some odd minutes of having the football. So
75 runs. The way that they run is you're in a dogfight, and so we were glad that our kids stepped up and answered it last night.
And I'll ask our offensive guru, Coach Will, to make some final thoughts here. Coach Will?
Yeah, one thing I did want to mention, when Dalton Haney went down and he was over on the sideline, Mike was checking him out. Mike, had to clear out those other 4 offensive linemen because they were so concerned. That group's pretty tight, and when you've got a group that's cohesive like that, that's really special. So it was, I hate that, Haney got banged up there, but it was good to see those guys rallying around him, making sure he was okay and wanting him to get back out there. I think that's you're starting to see that show in the result on Friday nights.
And, David, your final thoughts.
Well, I talked to my dad yesterday morning, and he said, David, don't worry about anything. He said, I got that feeling the Caldwell County Tigers are going to win. When I feel like that, that's going to happen. And so, I hope he gets that feeling a lot the rest of the year.
Well, I had the feeling as well, but nobody in Paducah had the feeling for sure. Some of them, yeah. Some of those guys were like Katie's and Hopkinsville. Yeah. And but anyway, that's neither here nor there. But as all of you have mentioned here, just a tremendous overall effort last night. Very few mistakes. We're beginning to gel. I didn't realize about the 4 linemen gathering around Dalton when he went off, but that's camaraderie and that's team devotion, so to speak. So you play better when you're playing for your buddy, so to speak, and I think that's what we're beginning to do, laying out on catches, running hard, getting the hard yards, not making any mistakes, and we made very few last night.
Yeah, that was good to see, and against a football team like that, you got to limit your mistakes, and like I said, it was a great win for our kids, and as a coaching staff, you couldn't be more proud of it. They go out and they did what we asked them to do, and we got better as a football team last night, and something we want to continue on.
And my thanks to the coaches today. That's going to wrap it up here for
next week. Will be homecoming, so it'll be our homecoming week. Which I don't like homecoming. To me, it's for everybody else in the school, but our football team really. But there could be some distractions there, and hopefully we'll not let that bother us too much. But it's good for the rest of the school, and hopefully some people that haven't been in the game will come out Friday night and see the Tigers play.
And this is something you can work with them this week. A good team doesn't get distracted. So
That's right.
we'll see what happens there. But it is homecoming coming up this Friday night, and again, my thanks to head coach David Barnes, Coach Will Barnes, Coach Jeff Riley, and Coach Earl for being with us today in the studio, and for my engineer John Miller. This is Bob Hayes wishing you all a pleasant, rainy Saturday morning.
Serving Caldwell County since 1950. We're 1580, 103.3 WPKY Princeton.